So who would like to tell us about the latest video you have out?
Dave, Esteban.
The latest video we have out is for our track off of our newest album, Capital Conspiracy. It's called Here Comes the Dead. We shot the video over in Toad's Place, in the epic Toad's Place back in Connecticut, in New Haven. And thank you, Michael. And was you guys want to go ahead and answer? Give me some.
I'm gonna give you the mic.
Oh, give me some room. Oh, give me some.
Take the mic.
All right. So, hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? All right. RNRTV. No, it was we shot with Tom Flynn, who Tom Flynn shot with All That Remains, Lamb of God. He did an Overkill one too, right? I believe.
He did Fire in the Sky. Fire from the Gods. Fire from the Gods. All That Remains. Body Count.
He did Body Count. So yeah, and we opened it up to a lot of the hometown crowd. We packed the place, and the whole video is just about, people getting swept up in that technology in the world, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going around. So, stop being a zombie, wake up and, really get with it.
What about when COVID hit? How did you guys survive? Did you do mostly everything online?
We actually...
Dead by Wednesday.
So we actually recorded our latest album during COVID, and we did not let COVID stop us. We recorded our individual tracks. We would do Zoom meetings, and then once things looked like we could start practicing, we would basically learn to play the songs that we recorded. So right when COVID hit, we were already in the songwriting process. We were going to, go into the studio. Once COVID hit, we kind of took the situation, amongst ourselves with our own hands and recorded ourselves, and we stayed productive, basically. But this album that came out, a majority of it was recorded during COVID.
And also done remotely, where a lot of file sharing. And then I would go into the studio with our producer, Nikki Belmore, who's awesome. He's an amazing producer, plays drums for Dee Snider and has his own band called Kings and Liars. And he recorded us, but I would do the drums with him. We both had masks on, and one in one room, one in the other room. They would send the tracks from their homes because they have home studios. They would record the tracks, send them remotely, and then I would play the drums to it, and then he would eventually mix it on his own. So it was done online a lot, which is really cool. The new way, it's
definitely, because now that's the new way to get. I mean, you can get things out faster by going online.
But a few of the songs were done together. Once the COVID restrictions let up, we got together and we finally would jam and write some stuff. And actually, the song you're asking about, "Here Comes the Dead," a lot of it was written all together as a band, compared to a lot of the remote stuff.
Now, you said all together. So how did you guys? Right now. Okay. So how did you guys do that all together during COVID?
Well, so how do I word it? So for the bass, my parts weren't solidified when we started writing. They were solidified once I got the tracks, and during COVID I could, record it 20 times and say, okay, I like this or I don't. But we just kind of collaborate when we get in the room, when we rehearse. Dave will have an idea, Opus will have an idea, someone will have an idea, and we just kind of work it out, jam it out. Sometimes the song ends up being 8 minutes long. We'll cut it down. Once we start working with the producer, they put their input too. But it's a collaborative effort, usually from the onset, once we start rehearsing.
Why, thank you.
A lot of Zoom too, but Dave wanted to mention something.
Dave wanted to speak.
Well, I was just going to say, we actually wrote that track towards the end of the whole COVID thing. At the end of 2020, we actually did some small tours with David Ellison, Opus, and I. So we started getting back into the practice room, and Opus came in, his son had an idea. He said, hey, why don't you name a song about the band or Here Comes the Dead? And we were like, oh, that's a cool concept. So I wrote a riff, Opus kicked the beat, Mike came up with the bass line, Esteban wrote a lyric, and in 5 minutes we had a new song. And like Mike alluded to, more is more. We just write a song as long as we can, write as many riffs, and then we get to the studio, we record it, and then we just chop it down, and our producer works with us, and we just refine it till we get to the gold.
Who would you say, what music group influenced you most?
There's a lot of them for every one of us. We all have really a lot of different tastes. But for me, I guess Black Sabbath. Yep. Metallica, Black Sabbath.
What about you?
Queen.
I love Queen.
I have too many. Seriously, because you could be 8 and you're influenced by Michael Jackson, and in your adult years as a musician, you're still kind of influenced, but that doesn't mean you're more influenced than Metallica or Iron Maiden or Prince or whatever. So I think all of us, we kind of take all of our influences and mash them up. I mean, I like Sabbath too. We all like the same stuff. And we mix it up. It's like, we're building a cake.
And what about you?
Believe it or not, I'm like a Hendrix buff, so I go like way back. My mom was a hippie, got me onto the whole acid rock thing. So I like Black Sabbath, Van Halen, the big arena rock bands. I like death metal as well. But I'd say like the common denominator with us is probably always Pantera, because we're just a kick-ass party band, and we want to bring back the 4-piece arena kick-ass party band vibe. Less is more.
There's something when you have a 4-piece band with just one guitar, drums, bass, and vocals. There's just something about that. Not that it's better or 2 guitars are better.
You have every element.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's just something about
It's like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
You'll see it tonight. We like to do as much as we can with the instruments that we have. So like we'll even like a bunch of us will sing as well, along back them up and stuff like that. So we try to do as much as we can with what we got, and like Dave was saying, less is more in that sense. And like a lot of the big bands that you know of today, they were like that. They didn't have they had like the Sabbath and the Pantera and Van Halen. They just had, that's the band, and that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, there's so many bands that influence us, and not just bands. There's so many different styles that we all. I mean, I like everything from Slayer to Grateful Dead. I like old school hip hop. I mean, we like it all of us, classical. But it doesn't mean that we incorporate that. It's just I think any good musician should appreciate all styles of music in some way. They don't necessarily have to like it per se, but they should at least appreciate the talent that it takes and the songwriting for each genre.